Hey everybody, welcome back to the Detective You Know. Today is the third leg of the holy trinity of police, corrupt police that commit crimes interrogations. So we did Ken Blue, we did Daniel Holtzclaw, and today is Stephanie Lazarus. So most of you that are here know who Stephanie Lazarus is, but for those of you that don't, I'll give you the quick, short, dirty version of it. Stephanie Lazarus was an LAPD police officer from in the mid 80s through the 90s into the early 2000s, mid 2000s. In 1986, when she was on the job for 2 years, she murdered her former boyfriend's wife, Sherry. She staged the murder scene at Sherry's condo to look like a home invasion. She stacked up stereo equipment by the front door, rifled through all of the belongings in the house and tossed dressers. She and Sherry got into a physical confrontation whereupon Stephanie bit Sherry's forearm and then ultimately got control of her and shot her 3 times. Then stole Sherry's car, drove it several blocks away and left it. The police initially chalked it up to a home invasion gone wrong where the homeowner was home, encounters the home invaders, gets in a struggle, and gets shot. They even posted flyers with 2 suspects of home invasions that occurred in the area before and after this, coincidentally. And it obviously, none of those leads panned out in this murder, and the case went cold. Meanwhile, Stephanie Lazarus worked her way through the ranks of LAPD, ultimately in the early 90s, marrying a fellow LAPD commander. And at the time of this interrogation, he was a captain. And Stephanie ultimately rose to be a detective and then head of the art division of the Detective Bureau. So she investigated art forgeries, art thefts from galleries and things like that. A pretty high-profile, luxe, cush detective's job. And little did she know that some cold case homicide detectives from across the hall in her building got this case as a cold case, and they went through it and they realized, oh, we have DNA. There was DNA left on the bite mark, and they took a swab, but back in 1986, there was no DNA analysis. There was no DNA database, so it just sat there. Well, these detectives quickly shipped this off, and it came back to a female profile. They didn't get a match in the system, but it's a female profile. So then they're like going through the file and they see, oh, who was the ex-girlfriend of the murder victim's husband in this case? Woman across the hall who runs the art detective division, Stephanie Lazarus. So they do surveillance of Stephanie, and when she goes to the mall one day and has a soda in a to-go cup with a straw and throws it in the trash can, they grab the straw. They send it to the DNA lab, and guess what? It's a perfect match to 1 in 1 gazillion to the DNA that's on Sherry Rasmussen's arm. So they bring her into the police jail under the ruse of, hey, Stephanie, we've got a case that we're investigating and a suspect that he's got some information in one of your cases. Why don't you come over to the jail and talk to him about it? We'll introduce you. That's their ruse to get her disarmed before they talk to her, because she's known as Spazarus. She's self-admittedly crazy, and they don't want to confront her with this 23-year-old murder while she's armed. So that's how they disarm her. So that's why they're interviewing where they do. It's a super juicy one. Keep an eye on her facial expressions, her body language, how she short circuits all the time, how she has no memory, and everything is, it may have, it's not familiar, it doesn't ring a bell, I might have, it could be, maybe. She's got some really bad perp amnesia in this one. So hope you guys enjoy this. After this one, we're going to move on to more recent ones now that we're done with the classics. So enjoy this one. Let me know what you think.
I'm not sure. Stephanie, I don't know if you know my partner.
Hey, great.
Hi.
Stearns, nice to
Yeah,
meet
see
you.
you guys.
How's it going?
Good.
Milling around. Well, have a seat. What this is I didn't want to bring this up in your squadron.
You want to know?
Oh, no, it's fine. I think
I
we're
use
good.
that recorder to, let me just turn it off. You're gonna bring somebody in, right?
Yeah, well, I can explain the whole thing
That's
too.
fine.
I don't want to talk about this in the squadron because
that's okay.
I don't know who people are listening.
That's true,
And
that's
if we go to my side, everybody's always wondering what everybody else is
sure,
doing.
no problem.
Okay. But like we're talking about being busy and stuff, we've been assigned a case that we've been looking at.
Okay.
It's a new case, and reviewing the case, there's some notes to see as far as your name being mentioned.
Okay.
Do you know John Rutten?
John Bruton. John Rutten?
Rutten.
And there's the start. So, first of all, let's talk about a couple things. The interview room that they're in, the reason it looks so shabby and austere and echoey and everything else, and if you heard the audio before they came in, it's the unmistakable sounds of jail doors and jail barred walls being closed. They're in the jail. So these detectives work across the hall from Stephanie. Stephanie is an art detective, which means she deals with art forgery, art theft, things like that. These two detectives are homicide detectives. And they don't want to interview her with her gun on. As you've seen in other videos, Jason Fleer, Kenneth Blue, you never want to interview somebody who's armed. You're not sure what they're going to do. And so a way of disarming Stephanie was to get her into the jail under the ruse of, hey, we've got a case we're working on and it's of interest to you and it might be something you want to talk to this guy about. So why don't you meet us over at the jail and we'll bring this guy over and we'll talk to him. And if you notice, and so when you go into a jail, you have to put your gun in a lockbox. You can't take your gun in the jail. So that's how they disarmed her. Very clever, very smart. And if you notice when Stephanie, I want you to pay close attention to Stephanie's facial features, her mannerisms throughout this video. This is a body language dream case here. Her facial expressions, her actions, her words, the way she talks are all just so telling. She does not have a poker face. From the minute she walks in, she's doing like this, looking around, looking at one to the other. Hey, you're going to bring somebody in, aren't you? And her eyebrows are up and she's already on alert that something's going on. And then they smack her in the first 30 seconds with, do you know John Rutten? John Rutten is the husband of the woman that Stephanie killed 23 years prior. And that Stephanie had a relationship with, let's just call it that. She was John Rutten's F-buddy, if you know what I mean. He didn't want to date her. He didn't want to marry her. He just liked effing her. And when Stephanie found out that he was engaged and then got married, she lost her damn mind. So keep an eye on Stephanie's face. It's quite telling. She'll sit back into the camera frame in a minute here.
Oh yeah, I went to school with him.
You did?
Yeah.
How long did you know him?
Gosh, I went to school in, went to UCLA in 1978 I started and, met him at school at the dorms.
Mm-hmm. Were you guys friends, close friends?
Yeah, we're very close friends.
Yeah.
I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's a case we're working on. It involves John, and in there, some of the statements we reviewed, there's notes and stuff that he knew you and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, we good friends.
Now, a normal question from this detective would be, let's see, I've got two homicide detectives talking to me in private about a guy I knew 23 years ago. My first question would be, if I didn't already know what had happened, which Stephanie does, but if you're trying to feign innocence, or if you were innocent, your first question would be, oh my God, is John okay? Is everything all right? Your first thought would be, oh my God, John's been killed. Homicide detectives are here talking to me about John. No, she's like, what's this all about? What and she's always what, like that. And what's this all about? Yeah.
I lived in the dorms for 2 years.
You guys lived in the same dorm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Dykstra.
Okay. Were you guys just friends or anything else, or?
Yeah, we were good friends.
Yeah. Was there ever any relationship or anything that developed between you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we dated. You know, I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's relating to his wife.
Okay.
Okay. Did you know her?
Not really. I mean, I knew that he got married years ago.
Did you know her? Not really. So you're trying to get these detectives to believe that this guy that you dated and was so into that it's just, and you, if you hear the noise, you keep hearing this noise. That's her flopping her hand around. She's exhibiting a lot of nervous tics already with the flopping of the hand around. And that's the second time now she's asked, well, what's this all about? She's really on edge. These detectives, you know, they, like all these cases, viewers, these detectives know the answer to almost every single question they're asking. They want to see how she reacts. They want to see if she's lying. And they want to put her on the hot seat, and they want to see her squirm, and they want to see how she reacts. So far, she's exhibiting all of the telltale characteristics of somebody who's very nervous and thus probably guilty.
Did you ever meet her?
God, I don't know.
Do you know who she was or anything?
Well, let me think. God, it's been a long time ago. I may have met her. Geez. So, two things. Stephanie is going to say that was a long time ago, but she's usually going to say, that was a million years ago. It's just a million years ago. That's her distancing herself from this crime and from the information that she needs to give. Now, Stephanie is smart. She's a detective. She got promoted up the ranks. She's a very high up detective right now. She's smart. She knows she can't lie, but she's going to use a lot of squirm words, a lot of weasel words like, I may have, or that doesn't sound familiar. That doesn't ring a bell. Maybe it could have been, I might have. I may have seen a flyer. I may have met her. So she's not pitting herself down, which is smart when you're being interrogated, because she's hedging her bets right now. But listen to how many times she says a million years ago, and language like I believe, I may, or I may have, or you would think, or a lot of things like that. You know.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. You said you dated John. How long did you guys date?
I mean, well, are you guys? Is this something? I mean, you said I was going to interview somebody about art, and how you guys are.
Here's
I mean,
Stephanie, here's the situation. It's basically, we knew that this, when we saw this in this chrono, that maybe, there was some relationship there. That's what the chrono seemed to indicate, and we didn't want to come up to you at your desk and ask those kinds of questions or do anything. You know how up there people can see what's going on if you go into an interview room, or people are in there getting supplies. Okay. So we wanted to afford you some privacy, some confidentiality to talk about this, because we thought it might be, something, you're married to someone else, obviously, and so forth, and that you may not want to, talk about these things in that setting where someone, we don't want the rumor mill or gossip or any of that kind of stuff to start.
That's fine. I mean,
so we did this just as a means to try and speak to you in just a confidential place where where your business isn't out there for other people in your division to know about.
God, that's been a million years ago. I mean,
it's been a million years ago. This detective that's talking right now does a great job. His real sole purpose in this interrogation, these two detectives don't do what we typically see. They don't typically do, there's not one lead. They're not playing good cop, bad cop, but what the two roles that they are playing is that of interviewer and interrogator, both through that. But this detective talking right now, he does a great job throughout. When he feels like they've
the screws are tightening a little too much on Stephanie, or her hackles are up, or she's getting defensive, or is, getting upset that she's being viewed as a suspect, he immediately brings it back. And he does a really nice job here. Her hackles are up already, and she's immediately uptight and defensive, and he immediately brings her back to earth and reassures her, hey, Stephanie, we're just going through this old file, and, your name come up. We're just looking for background information because you knew this guy. And, hey, it's easy for us to talk to you. You work right across the hall, so we can talk to you. But, hey, we don't want to talk to you up there because you're married to a police captain, she is, of LAPD. And, we don't want the rumor mill to start that we're talking about your old boyfriend and stuff with you. So we're just kind of keeping it on the DL. We're still just cops talking about cop stuff. That's a classic technique these guys use. And this guy's doing a good job. Because she's about ready to walk out the room, and he just stopped her from doing that. Now she's smiling, and she leaned back a little bit, and she's relaxed.
What year is it now? 2009? I mean, I graduated in 82. 82, yeah. We dated. I dated other guys. I'm sure he dated other girls.
Well, let me ask you, roughly how long would you say you guys dated?
Oh, jeez. I couldn't even say. I mean, I started school there in 78. Mm-hmm. I started UCLA in 1978. Mm-hmm. I graduated in 82. I don't even remember what year he graduated, if it was a year or two before me.
Okay.
I think he was a little bit older than I was. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't remember if he was born, let's say I'm born in 1960. I don't know if he was born in 58 or 59. I mean, I knew his parents. I knew his sister. His brother went to Northridge. Mm-hmm.
So what Stephanie's engaging in right now is you see this in all of these. She knows she's got some lying to do. They're talking to her about John Rutten. She knows what she did. These are homicide detectives. She knows why they're there. What she's going to do is what they all do. We've talked about it in all the videos. She's going to try and talk about so many things and at length about so many things and provide so much detail truthfully that she can, so that the times that she has to lie are going to be short and sweet, and then she's going to have all this other truth talking and truth telling going on. So as a whole, it's going to look like she's telling the truth. She's giving them so much more information than they need right now. Oh, we were in this dorm together, and we knew this girl named Shmita, and I was born in 60 and he was born in 59, and he dated girls, and I did this and I did this, and I was in the back. I mean, she's just going to go on. Buckle up. It's going to be a lot of Stephanie saying a lot of stuff that doesn't matter to anything. And I once again, I call out good detective work when there's good detective work. These guys just sit and listen to it. I wish I'd had the patience of some of these detectives.
Sister spent the night at my house before. Obviously, I spent the night at his house before. He probably spent the night at my house before.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, because from what you're telling me is you guys dated while you were in college together, right?
Yeah, and probably after college. I can't. Geez, trying to think when I met my husband. I met my husband when did I meet Scott? Let's see. I was teaching DARE, because I met Scott when I was teaching DARE.
So what's happening in her brain right now? She's multitasking. She, in her brain, in the background is, oh my God, after 23 years, these guys are finally here to talk to me about this murder that I committed. The forefront of her brain is just short-term talk. So she's buying herself some time to think about how she's going to handle this and coping with the stress of, after 23 years, this finally being confronted with this. And she's trying, rather than have empty space and silence while her brain buffers and thinks, she's having her mouth run to cover the awkward silence that her brain actually needs to come up with what she's going to say here.
In Oregon, but we had long stopped, dating before that.
So you haven't talked to him for a long time?
Oh, I think I haven't talked to him in a long time. I couldn't even tell you when the last time I talked to him. I met Scott, I'm thinking in 92 maybe, April of 92. It was
Scott being your husband.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I was teaching DARE. Let's see, what year is this? We'll be married. I got married in 1996. I think I met Scott in 92. Prior to that, I couldn't tell you how long I had talked to John prior to that.
But since you met your husband, Scott, you hadn't talked to him?
I mean, he may have called me once or twice before we got married.
Right.
Geez, I lived...
He did more than call her once or twice before he got married. It's alleged, well, actually, I think even John Rutten admitted it. He was sleeping with Stephanie, I think, right up until his wedding. As a matter of fact, I even think either on his wedding day or the day before his wedding, he and Stephanie hooked up. So Stephanie was his F-buddy. I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe, I've watched a few documentaries on this, there's differing information, but I think they were even sleeping together for a short while after he was married. And as soon as Stephanie murdered Sherry, who's the victim in this case, Stephanie went to Hawaii to go scuba diving, and John came along shortly after the murder. So they definitely had this friends with benefits relationship, and yeah.
I moved to Simi in 1994 because I lost my house in the earthquake.
Oh, really?
Quite honestly, I probably keep in contact with a few people from the dorms. We all lived on the 10th floor, and there's about 3 or 4 people I keep in contact with. There's probably like 6 or 8 of us that were all really close.
Mm-hmm. And who are those people?
Oh, geez. Diana Basta. The people I still keep. I haven't been in contact with her in a long time. Mm-hmm. I mean, what's this all about? I mean.
Well, let me ask you, what ended the relationship between you and John?
It was kind of a weird relationship. I mean, we dated. I can't say that he was my boyfriend. I don't know that he would consider me his girlfriend. We dated. We did things. I played sports in college. He played basketball. His brother played basketball. We just,
interchange the word had sex for dated. They didn't date. They didn't go out to romantic dinners. They weren't in a courtship. When she says dated, they had sex. That was the extent of their relationship.
It just didn't work out. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It was like I went out with other guys, saw other guys, and went on lots of vacations.
And once you guys split, were you guys still friends, or kind of, problems? Is it friendly, not friendly?
No, I don't think it was not friendly. I mean, we were friendly. I know that we went to Hawaii at one point. Another friend of mine who's actually dying right now went to Hawaii with us at some point.
Remember
Twice she says, at some point. We went to Hawaii at some point. My friend who's dying went with us to Hawaii at some point. She knows what some point that was. It was immediately after she murdered his wife.
When that was?
Oh, geez. Let me think. I'd have to check my pictures. Or I'd say I'd ask Greg, but my friend Greg is like dying of liver cancer right now. Yeah, I mean,
And you were saying that
it's 2009 now.
Had you ever met his wife?
I may have.
Do you remember her name or anything, or? Or what she did for a living, or where she worked, or anything about her?
Well, I think I'm going to say that I think she was a nurse. I can't even remember how he said he met her. It's been.
So, these detectives are doing a good job. they know the answers to these questions, and they know that she knows the answer to these questions. They're feeling her out right now. Is she going to talk? Is she going to tell the truth? Is she going to lie? Is she going to obfuscate? Is she going to claim amnesia, or it was a million years ago, or I may have? Do you remember his wife's name? Now, if Stephanie was smart right now, she'd just be forthcoming with everything she knows. And I mean, surely she knows, and being a detective, that these detectives have done their homework. They haven't just come in after opening the case file for 3 seconds. And she's got to also know, because she was there when this murder was committed, that her name was brought up and that she was known to be the jealous ex-F-buddy friend. And she knows that she confronted Sherry at her workplace. She knows that she confronted Sherry at her condo before. She knows she did these things. She knows that they've been documented. She knows people's talked about them. And the fact that she's trying to feign ignorance and stupidity right now looks bad for her and tells these detectives all they need to know. But watch slowly through this interview and interrogation how her memory comes back to her gradually, and when confronted with overwhelming evidence that we know that you did some of these things, she finally fesses up because she knows she can't distance herself anymore.
So long ago.
Well, let me ask you, did you go to their wedding,
No, I didn't go to their wedding. No, did not go to their wedding. Couldn't even tell you what year he got married. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been a million years ago.
Do you ever remember if you ever talked to her? Because it seems like a lot of you who were at the school at UCLA, you guys kind of were friends during and after school, so I don't know if you guys still associated afterwards once he was married or anything.
With him?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I would say, the people that were on the dorm floor, we'd have get-togethers. There's probably like 4 or 5. I don't think he ever came. I don't think. No, it was mostly girls. A girl named Smita, Diane. There's 2 Dianes, but the one Diane, I don't think she ever came. I kind of lost contact with her. We were good friends on the floor. I mean, I don't. Again, I mean, what. I don't understand why you're talking about some guy I dated a million years ago.
Well, do you know what happened to his wife?
I don't understand why you're talking to me about some guy that I dated a million years ago. Well, Stephanie, let's do some addition and some math here. You dated him. His wife was killed. You were the jealous girlfriend at the time. These are homicide detectives. Why do you think they want to talk to you?
Yeah, I know she got killed.
What did you hear about that?
I'm going to rewind that.
Again, I mean, what... I don't understand why you're talking about some guy I dated a million years ago.
Well, do you know what happened to his wife?
Yeah, I know she got killed.
Do you know what happened to his wife? And Stephanie's response is, I know she got killed. Think about the words there. Body language experts and stuff like that, that's a very interesting science. But also linguistics and the words that people say and how they say them is also as telling as facial expressions and body language. I know she got killed. Now, if you were asked about somebody that you know that died in the past, would you use the words, I know they got killed? No. Hey, do you know what happened to his wife? Yeah, she got killed in a car crash, or she died in a car crash, or she was murdered. It's reasonable for anybody to assume that because Stephanie was his ex-girlfriend, that at the time she was completely aware that his wife was murdered. As a matter of fact, she went to Hawaii with him, and it has already admitted that she was friends with him even after his wife was killed. So, of course, that's something that they would have talked about, and she would know everything about it. So for her to claim ignorance and amnesia and It was a million years ago. I can't really remember. It's just so stupid right now. And she's a detective and knows better. And that's why I find all of these interrogations and interviews so interesting is you've got seasoned police officers and detectives acting so dumb and behaving so stupidly in these interviews and interrogations. It's just shocking.
What did you hear about that?
I saw a poster at work. I'm sure I spoke to him about it. I think I spoke to another friend of his about it.
And how did you first learn about that?
Jeez. Someone could have called me. I could have heard it at work. I think at one point there may have been a flyer or something. I know a good friend.
Again, listen to all this like weasel language. There may have been a flyer. I could have done this. I may have talked to somebody. I think I might have done this, or it could have been that. It's clever in the sense that she can always say, hey, I hedged my words with maybe, could have been, might have. But just listen to how often she says, I may have seen this. What's really interesting, at one point in this, listen for it, coming up ahead, she'll say, I may have seen a flyer. The flyer may have said this, and then I may have done this after I saw the flyer, or something like that. She uses three weasel phrases, but as she gets more specific and more specific, which you wouldn't get that specific if it was it may have been or it might have been.
Were you on the job back then when that happened?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm sure I was on the job. That's why I would have heard about it with the flyer. He had a good friend, Mike Boldrick. Anyways, he may have lived in the dorms. I don't remember if that's how I met him. I may have talked to him. I mean, I don't remember how I heard. I mean, I don't even remember what year it was.
And you think you said you thought his wife was a nurse. Do you have any idea where she was working at the time, or did he ever mention that to you? Was it a hospital or a doctor's office?
I'm sure he must have mentioned it. Now that you're bringing that up, I think she worked at a hospital somewhere. And yeah, I may have met her at a hospital.
Stephanie, when she found out that it was either after John was married, but I think it was just when he was engaged to her and Stephanie found out about it, Stephanie put on like a cocktail dress or like a dinner dress, got all dolled up, went to the hospital to confront Sherry while Sherry's at work in the hospital, and made such a scene that security was called, and security removed Stephanie from the hospital. And there's allegations even or reports that it got physical between Sherry and Stephanie at the hospital. So to say, I think she might have worked at a hospital and I may have met her at the hospital. No, you almost threw hands at the hospital after getting all dressed up to go confront her about John still calling her while he's with you. That's a life memorable event, and these detectives know it. And the way she's just downplaying and weasel wording everything right now tells the detectives they're in for quite an interview and interrogation here.
I may have talked to her once or twice.
At a hospital?
Or more.
But being that you're you used to see John, was everything okay between you guys? I mean, there was never anything uncomfortable or anything between you and her?
I don't know. I mean, it's been so many years. I mean, uncomfortable. I mean, I can't even remember if we had a conversation. I mean, we may have. I may have seen her at his apartment. Geez, how many years ago was that? I don't even know what year she, got killed.
Where was his apartment?
On Roscoe.
Okay.
Yeah, Roscoe and
She's just all. It was a million years ago. I mean, how many years ago was that? Up. And then he goes, "Do you remember where that apartment was?" On Roscoe. She has very, very specific and clear memory when she wants to and asks these questions directly. Now, let me remind you guys too, you're not interviewing some street urchin here or some, grade school graduate only dummy here. They're interviewing a seasoned detective who rose through the ranks in a 23-year career. To do that, you have to have sharp memory skills. That's very important to a police officer and a detective. You have to have a good memory. So all of this fake amnesia and fake bad memory is just so telling to these detectives.
East or west of DeSoto, either east or west of DeSoto.
Do you know where he moved after? Did he move after he got married, or do you know? Or
I'm sure he did.
Did you know where he was living, or
somewhere in the valley?
Did you ever visit him and his wife?
No.
No, never
No.
went out to, get together, dinners, anything of that nature?
No. Like I said, his sister used to come over. His sister had come to my place. I knew his brother because his brother played basketball at Northridge. In fact, I was just coming across some pictures that I just scanned from. I take a lot of photos, like 10,000.
Yeah, so Stephanie's big thing is, I'll have to check my pictures. Whenever they asked her a question that needs some sort of memory recall to a time and a place, her default is, I'll just have to check my pictures. Let me check my pictures. I'll scan my pictures. I'll check my pictures. I got 10,000 pictures. I'm kind of a picture person. Let me check my pictures. It's funny.
And I just did a service where I scanned everything. And I'd seen some pictures of his brother playing basketball.
you just put them all on your computer so you could have them accessible and do things with them?
Well, my partner is a big photo thing, and he had a deal to scan. So I spent a ton of time just scanning photos. I paid a company to do it. So I've got photos of, his brother, his sister, of
10,000 pictures?
Oh, yeah.
How long did that take them?
Months.
Now, what do they put that on a? I'm just curious myself. Do they put it on a? They get that all on one DVD? They don't need a hard drive or anything?
No. There's I think 11 DVDs. Yeah, I don't even have time.
It's a series of DVDs that they put them on?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
not that familiar with computer stuff, so that's why I was asking.
It's like 11 DVDs.
Oh, okay.
So, I haven't had a chance to go.
This detective, I guarantee you, is savvy on computer stuff. The reason he's asking that is because eventually they're going to be serving a search warrant for evidence. And if she documents everything and has 10,000 pictures, that means she's got a lot of pictures of her and John. She's probably got a lot of pictures of them together. She's probably got a lot of pictures of him and Sherry. Might even have pictures of, if she cased the joint or if she was taking pictures of the condo to plot this murder on these DVDs. And for his search warrant, he wants to make sure he can list, and we're also searching for 11 photo DVDs. So he's getting information out of her by playing stupid, and she's just eating it up.
Room, you could go through and pick which ones you don't want. I don't have time to do that.
Right.
So like you said, did I don't think we ever socialized. He'd still call me. I can't say that I would. If he's married, I don't know that I would have called him. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. It's been a million years ago.
Well, how long was John married before his wife died?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
And after his wife died, did you talk to him again or anything?
Yeah, I did talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to him, probably his parents, probably some other friends.
Which makes your earlier lie, Stephanie, about I know she got killed. I don't know what happened. There might have been a flyer. I'm not sure. No, if you talked to him after his wife was murdered, I guarantee you the two of you talked about her murder. So she's just digging her own hole right here.
I'm sure I talked to him.
Yeah.
But you're not sure where he moved to after he got married?
No idea. I mean,
Never went over to visit him or
I don't think.
meet
I
his
mean, I
wife,
don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I did. I mean, I know he lived on Roscoe for a long, long time. I mean, I may know. I mean, he may have told me where they lived, somewhere in the valley. I mean, he may have said I lived over such and such, but I couldn't tell you specifically where.
But you don't remember specifically ever going over to visit him or visit them at wherever he moved when he left Roscoe?
I honestly, I don't know. I don't think so, but
okay.
You know, I don't want to say no, I don't think so, and then he says, oh yeah, she came over for something, dropped something off. You know, I don't know.
So if you did go over there.
That was a very specific hypothetical. You know, I don't want to say that I didn't. You know, I don't want somebody to say that, you know, that I went over there and dropped something off, and then you guys think I'm lying. That's a very specific hypothetical. Well, she did go over to their house to drop something off. She once dressed up in like a cute little snow bunny, ski bunny outfit, like, you know, the little jacket and the little pants and the stuff, and went over there with her snow skis. And knocked on the door, and Sherry answered, and she's like, oh, hey, John said he was going to wax my skis for me, so here, you know, and they got into a little bit of an argument over that, and, you know, Sherry was really upset that his, quote, ex-girlfriend is coming over with skis to be waxed. So, yeah, she did go over there to drop something off.
Be like a quick thing, like you're saying, drop something off, or...
Maybe,
But you don't remember as far as like going there to have dinner or like a social, anything at the house, party?
Well, if you guys know something, I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, but...
After John's wife died, you said you may have been talking to him. Did your relationship start up again?
I would say no. Again...
I would say no. Whenever somebody says, I would say, or I have to say, or I'd probably say, that means I'm getting ready to tell you what I think you want to hear, or I think I should say in this situation, but it's not the truth. And did their relationship start again up again after she died? Yeah, they started being F buddies again for a short period of time, including in Hawaii.
Can you give me a year? I mean, this is like 2009.
She died in 1986?
Yeah, I think it was 86.
1986.
Okay. Like I said, I'm faintly remembering that I went to Hawaii with my friend Greg. Greg and I got certified for scuba diving. And I'm thinking that John met us there, meaning Greg and I. That could have been... I got certified toward the end of 88, or I mean, 88, 89, because I got recertified again, and it had been like over 10 years, so I got recertified. My husband and I got recertified. And I'm pretty sure that John met us there. Again, I'd have to tell you what year it was. I'd have to look at my pictures, you know, and other than that, I can't even say. He may have called me, you know, at my home. I may have called him. I don't think he got together with our group.
I don't think after his wife's death.
Or even before, I don't. You know, we went to weddings together. You know.
Did you?
I got pictures. Like I said, I couldn't tell you years. It's been a million years ago.
After he got married or whatever, were you dating anybody in particular?
And that was what year? 1986, you said?
I think he got married in around 85, 86, something like that. Were you seeing anyone seriously, or?
God, I couldn't say. Geez, I'm trying to think. I mean, you know, I dated a fireman.
What was his name?
Mike Arndt. And I'm trying to think.
Was he LAFD or?
He was LAFD.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think when I went. I probably met Mike. I went to Devonshire. let's see, I left Hollywood in 80, I worked Hollywood 84 to 85, I think. And then I went to Devonshire, and that's when I met Mike, and some other firemen. And
What, the station next door?
no, actually,
Because I used to work Hollywood, so I just wonder if it's the station next door.
it was when I worked Devonshire, I met Mike.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'm trying to think. I went to Devonshire in 85, and I'm thinking that I would have met him probably sometime shortly after I went to Devonshire, because I met him and I actually met his buddies at a fire. And then Mike and I dated, just really kind of casually. And we remained we remained good friends.
You still in touch with him, or?
Unfortunately, he passed away.
Oh, really?
He died he had a car crash.
So this is all just inconsequential and doesn't matter, doesn't mean anything. What these detectives are doing is very smart. They dip into the important stuff, and they allow Stephanie to stray a little bit and talk about this non-important stuff. It puts Stephanie at ease, and it keeps her talking. If they were to just come in here and hammer her with evidence and hammer her with questions and stuff like that, she'd stop talking really quick. She's no dummy. She's a detective, and she'll smell and sense pressure and interrogation. So they're just letting her freewheel and free talk here. One of the rules with interviews and interrogations is if they're talking, you're winning.
He did race cars, and he went heading into a wall. I couldn't tell you what year that was, but he passed away. He was in a coma, and they pulled the plug.
Right.
Seems like, anyway. So, I couldn't even tell you what year. I'm thinking I went to Devonshire in 85, and I know I met the guys because it was kind of a funny incident of how I met them. And that's how I remember it was sometime probably 85.
Right.
If you specifically, I don't even know if they remember. The other two are now married to somebody else because I kind of, all three,
Did you kind of socialize, like when you were out with Mike, did those guys come out with you too? Was it kind of like, did you do stuff with his friends? Or?
Well, there was two firemen, Eric and Gary. I met them first. Then they introduced me to Mike. So that's how I met Mike, and Mike and I dated.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I don't usually talk about people's physical appearance, but she's a murderer, so she's fair game. It's 2009, and she's rocking that mullet. I mean, I had that haircut. I had that exact haircut when I was like 14, which was in 1982. This is 2009, and she's rocking that mullet. That's extraordinary.
And I wouldn't even say, I couldn't even tell you for how long, because then it would say we decided, it wasn't working out, and we'd be better friends, and he introduced me, I think, to some other guy who now is on LAPD, Randy Cordobas.
I don't think I know him.
He's a detective. He's got a twin brother who's on the fire department. That's how I met Randy, because he had a twin brother, identical twin on the fire department.
Okay.
And
wait, you and
I dated him. When I couldn't tell you, it was before he came on the job.
Before Randy came on the job?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And that was, I'm trying to remember if Mike may have. I'm trying to remember. Mike may have dated a girl that he dated. Oh, God, it sounds too weird.
Yeah, this relationship with these twin brothers, one on LAPD and one on LAFD, sounds really weird. If I heard her correctly, she just stated she dated the one brother who was on the PD, who introduced her to the brother on the fire department, and then she dated him. And then after that, the one that she was dating started dating the ex-girlfriend of his brother. It sounds pretty weird between her and these two twins.
Randy may have dated a gal that Mike was dating, and then Randy broke up with that gal. I couldn't even tell you the gal's name, if I'm even thinking of the story right. And then I started dating Randy.
Yeah.
So again, I mean, not like I was a huge floozy or anything, but
no, but you know, I mean, a lot of times, right?
It sounds like it.
At least from my female partners that I've had, it's hard dating guys that aren't involved in kind of our circle, right? Because some guys are intimidated by women police officers.
Randy was like an engineer at the time. He was like some kind of an engineer
on a rig, on a fire truck.
No, an engineer.
A professional engineer.
Yeah, and then I think he lost a job and then came on the department.
I see.
So.
But getting back to some stuff, as far as you recall, after John's wife died, did you start a relationship again with John, or dating casually, or anything like that?
Like I said, he met Greg and I in Hawaii. Okay.
That was something you guys kind of planned together, like go as a group, or you ran into him, or?
No, I think that obviously I must have talked to him, and I said, hey, I'm going to Hawaii with my buddy Greg. We're scuba. We just got certified scuba diving. We're going to be in Hawaii. Hey, if you want to come and join us, come join us.
Right.
And I think that's what it was.
Okay.
I may have asked some other people to as well. What island did we go to? I think the Big Island in Kauai. He either met us on the Big Island or Kauai. I'm thinking of Greg and I might have scuba dived a lot on the Big Island, as well as Kauai. I don't remember which island. Again, I'd have to look at my pictures. I traveled a lot on my vacations. I mean, I was always gone for at least a month, and I would go places, and I would either run into people or meet people.
And Greg, this Greg we're talking about, he was like someone you were dating, or just a buddy? Or?
No, you know what? I would say we started out probably just buddies, and either I was with somebody or he was with somebody. But it was kind of like we ended up just kind of being like brother and sister. And maybe he wanted something more, but it never worked out. But we did things together. I would consider him. I've probably known him, let's see, I've been on the job almost 26 years. I've probably known Greg 23, 24 years.
So you still talk to him?
Oh yeah, he's dying of liver cancer right now. Yeah.
Cancer. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I consider him a good friend. I don't know what to tell you on that.
I mean, when you heard about John's wife being killed, I mean, what was your reaction? I mean, you thought you heard about it, through a friend or in a bulletin or
either
something?
Either a friend or a bulletin. I called the family. I called maybe some of his friends that I knew, and I mean, obviously it shocked you if I heard it at work, which I may have. I faintly remember a bulletin going around. Either that or somebody called me. I honestly don't remember.
Right.
And then I called his family. I don't know initially. I can't say if I initially spoke to him or not. I honestly don't remember. I may have said to somebody, "Hey, have him call me if he wants to talk," and then he may have done that.
Do you know what the circumstances were regarding her death?
Geez, let me think back. I don't know.
You're a police detective. You were a police officer at the time of this murder. Do you expect these detectives to believe that you don't remember the circumstances of your former boyfriend's wife being murdered? Just as cops, we're interested in that stuff, and we want the details. We want all the details. That's our thing. We're interested in that. And this playing stupid thing is just wearing so thin. I can't believe these detectives. I watched an interrogation once of a police officer. I got to figure out which one it was because we'll definitely want to cover it, where he was playing stupid the whole time. I just don't remember. I can't recall. I just don't remember. I'm not sure. And the one detective steps in and says, "You're a police officer. What do you mean you don't recall? Part of our job is to recall and remember things. What do you mean you don't remember? Do you have memory problems or something?" And just confronts him like that. I wish these guys would do that to her. But out of just entertainment interest, I wish they would. But I know why they're not, because she'll clam up and shut down real quick.
If it was, if it was a burglary or something, it's been so many years. I can faintly think that I may have saw a flyer.
Yeah.
May have had her picture on it. That's why I say, if somebody had called me, I may not have known what her last name was. I may have. Maybe if you told me, I would remember it.
Do you remember the first name?
Shelley, Sherry, I don't know, something maybe, like I said, it's been so many years, and
from all the years, as far as you can remember, do you remember ever talking to her?
I could tell you the name of people I went to grade school with, and this woman can't remember the name of her former boyfriend's new wife that she had a problem with. Like, again, the lies that she's expecting them to believe. As a detective, knowing that they're detectives, it just shows a complete unawareness of the situation that she's in. It's staggering to watch. Just remember, we're watching a 23-year police detective veteran feign all this ignorance.
Well, I said earlier, I may have, I may have talked to her.
You mentioned a hospital, maybe. You may have talked to her at a hospital.
Yeah, I may have. I'm thinking back now. You guys are bringing up all these whole memories.
No, it kind of dusts off the cuff.
Geez. I'm thinking that because we would date. He would date other people. I would date other people, and I think at one point, he may have been dating her, or I don't know. Maybe he was married. I don't even remember. And I'm like, why are you calling me if you're either dating her or living with her or married to her? Because I honestly don't remember the time frame. And I'm like, come on, knock it off. And I'm thinking I may have gone to her and say, hey, you know what? Is he dating you? He's bothering me. And so I'm thinking that we had a conversation about that.
So she went from no memory of where she worked or what she did or if she's ever even talked to her or met her, to when the detective asks specific questions like, oh, she worked at a hospital. Did you ever talk to her there? Well, that's Stephanie's clue that they know stuff. So I better come up with something. So again, it's a lot of weasel words. It's I may have done this. I may have said this. So, now she's finally saying, oh yeah, I went there and confronted her and said, hey, what's he doing calling me if he's with you and whatever, blah, blah, blah. Stephanie actually, it's reported, said in this little head-to-head with Sherry at the hospital, apparently said something along the lines of, he doesn't love you and he's never going to stay with you, and when your relationship falls apart, I'm going to pick up the pieces, or something along those lines. It was pretty aggressive, but it's still all wrapped in weasel words. I may have, she may have, just pay real close attention to the weasel words. It's quite interesting.
One or two, maybe. It could have been three. I don't want to say I had 3 conversations with her.
Like at her work or at their house or.
No, I'm thinking that he obviously must have told me where she worked. I'm thinking it was a hospital somewhere in LA, and I could have been. Again, what year was that? Where was I working? I'm trying to think of where. When did you say they got married?
I don't know. I think it was like in '85 or '86 or something like that. Yeah, we just kind of picked this up. We don't know a lot about it.
That's a lie. We've never really talked about this with you guys. Detectives are allowed to lie in interviews and interrogations. Now, you may like or dislike that. I understand. As a police detective, I understand the usefulness of lying to the people I'm interviewing and interrogating. You can make them believe that you know more than you do. You can make up evidence, not in coercing them into a false confession, but into them thinking that you have more than you've got. If a defendant knows you have no evidence and knows you have no witnesses and knows you have no case, they're not going to say anything. But if you make up a bunch of stuff and pretend that you know more than you do, you can put them in a spot where they feel like they have to make admissions because they're hit oftentimes. So that's why the Supreme Court has found that detectives and police are allowed to lie in these type of situations. And that detective just told a doozy. And she's so locked up in her own mind right now. She's not even really hearing half of what they say. He just said, "Oh, hey, we're just asking this because we don't know anything about this case. We just picked this up." They know everything about this case. I'd be willing to bet from the time that they got this cold case to when they're talking to her now has probably been at least several weeks, if not several months, while they were putting their ducks in a row and getting everything lined up. As a matter of fact, I know it was because they came into this interrogation armed with the DNA evidence that they know that she committed this crime. And that takes a while to collect and get back. So it's probably been months since they got this case. They know this thing upside down, inward, outward, and everything. So that's a funny little lie he just told. And if she was paying more attention and not obsessed in her own brain right now with what's going on, she would have picked up on that and realized that these guys are they're taking her for a ride here. We'll talk more about the DNA in a minute when he brings it up.
I mean, I could have been working in Hollywood, it sounds like, if that's where I was working. So I could have said, okay, well, and I went and talked to her. And just said, hey, you know what? If he's dating you, he keeps calling me, why don't you tell him to knock it off or whatever? And, because I probably would have told him to knock it off.
You would have told John?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I would have said, hey, and...
So if you're upset that your former boyfriend, who is married or engaged, is still calling you to hook up, and maybe that's offensive to you, or you feel like the side piece or whatever, which, that's understandable. Why would you not tell the ex-boyfriend, knock it off, quit calling me, leave me alone, you have a girlfriend or a wife or whatever? Why would you go to the workplace of the innocent girlfriend or wife and tell her to tell him to knock it off? No, that's not what you were doing, Stephanie.
Again.
But you wanted to tell her too? You wanted them both to know?
Yeah, I mean, if you're getting called, and I'm faintly remembering when Scott moved in with me in 1993, sometime in 93, because I met Scott in April of 92. I was teaching DARE up in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
He moved down. In fact, he may have moved down in 92. 92 or 93. There was a big earthquake. No, when was the big earthquake? No, 94.
94, yeah.
So I think Scott might have moved in 93. Sometime in 93. Excuse me. I haven't had my breakfast yet. And so, excuse me. And so I faintly recall that John may have called a few times.
I think Stephanie's getting an ulcer already and a little nervous tummy over this interrogation.
And I'm like, hey, he goes, oh, can you talk or something? I'm like, no, I can't talk. I've got, I'm living with somebody.
Right.
And that could have been a few times. It could have been once, could have been twice, could have been 3 times. Yeah, I don't know,
And that's during the period of time of the earthquake that you're...
Well, no, probably after Scott moved in. I think I met Scott in April of 92.
Oh, okay, right before.
April of 92, because I was,
So that's interesting, and y'all need to know John Rutten, who's at the center of all of this love triangle. He's no saint. So he was hooking up with Stephanie. Well, first of all, he treated Stephanie like a piece of meat. Whether or not Stephanie was okay with that, I don't know, but he clearly wasn't respectful to her, and he was just using her for sex. He meets a woman that is marriage material, Sherry, and marries her, but is having sex with Stephanie up until the wedding day, and I believe shortly after he got married, immediately hooks up with her again in Hawaii after the death of his wife. And according to Stephanie here, while Stephanie is living with her soon-to-be husband, who also works at LAPD and is now a captain, John is calling her wanting to hook up. So he's not a good guy.
stopped teaching DARE. I think I stopped teaching DARE sometime in 92.
Her faces.
And when you say that you may have, that you talked to his wife, said, hey, or, I don't know if it was, I guess it wasn't his wife at that time, girlfriend or whatever. And
yeah, I don't know if it was his wife or his girl. I mean, quite honestly, I don't even remember.
When you said, like, hey, he's calling me, he needs to knock it off or what have you, I mean, was that civil? Was there,
no, there was not. I don't think there was anything. If the conversation lasted a few minutes, I can't even remember. And what is it like, we went out to lunch or anything.
Right, but there was no, like, arguments or fights
I don't think
it didn't get heated or anything like that?
Not that I recall, no. I mean, I would think that would stand out, I would think. Now, again, that's not standing out in my mind.
So you didn't have any problems with her?
Again, the weasel worlds. I would think it's not standing out on my mind. I would think. I mean, I may have. It may have been that. I mean, just I can't. You guys know what I'm talking about. Just shake your head every time you hear these weasel words and stuff like that.
You didn't have any issues with her?
No, I mean...
But let me ask you. It seems like you didn't have any issue. Now, did she have an issue with you as far as...
Oh.
Because now you're telling her, hey, tell them to stop calling. Now, she's like, hey, you figure she'd be threatened by you.
I don't know. I mean...
From what you remember as far as when you talked to her, maybe you didn't take it as serious, but maybe, did she? Maybe she was bugged.
You mean, like, was she throwing things at me or something? Or,
well, no, just... As far as... You're trying to explain, like, hey, have them stop calling me, stop playing games.
I tell you, if the conversation, I couldn't even tell you how long the conversation, if you said, did it last a half an hour? Did it last 3 minutes? Did it last 20 minutes? I can't even remember. It's been so long ago,
You just remember talking to her, telling her.
Yeah, and that's why you said, how many times you talked to her? I don't know how many times I talked to her. Maybe it was once, maybe it was twice, maybe it was 3 times. I honestly don't know.
Right.
I don't know what year it was. If he said I met her in such and such year, I'd go, okay, well, I don't even know what year you met her. I graduated from UCLA in 1982. Okay, I graduated in 82. Like I said, I don't know if he graduated. I know he was a little older than I was, so I don't know if he graduated a year before or 2 years before, because people are on different, either on the 4-year program or the 5-year program.
Mm-hmm. What year did you come on the job?
83.
Oh, so almost pretty much immediately after you got out of school?
Yeah, I worked at a law firm for a year, and then came on the job. But anyway, in regards to seeing him, not seeing him, we went to friends' weddings that were, from UCLA. I may have gone to some of his friends' weddings from where he worked. He may have gone to things with me, I don't know how many times we went to do things,
It's so dumb when she says something like, I may have gone to weddings with friends of his from work. I mean, when you say it might have or it may have, you're talking in the abstract. You're saying this could maybe something happened. But when you bore down and get specific, like, I may have gone to a wedding with him from one of his friends at work. There's no may have. If you're boring down that to that specific level of detail about something, you remember it. It happened, and just say it. I went to a couple of weddings with him, with people he worked with. Just say it. Why does it have to be wrapped up in I may have? And when she starts every sentence with I might have, it may have, I seem to remember, I think, it just, her entire answer, all of her answers in this interrogation are veiled in this haze and fog of maybe. And I think it's deliberate.
Or didn't do things.
Right.
Like I said, his sister, I know his sister, his brother, his sister, I know stayed at my townhouse a number of times. I couldn't tell you how many times.
Right.
I would watch his brother, take pictures at a basketball game or two.
Where was your townhouse at?
In Granada Hills, below the Odyssey.
I don't know the valley.
Oh, I'm sorry. The 405 and the 5. The 405. The 405 turns into the 5. The 118. They came down in the earthquake.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And you're saying when you went to see her, would you remember if it was at her house or at the place she worked at?
No, I'm thinking that it was probably. For some reason, I want to say that the hospital seemed that, if you say he got married in 85 or something, I'm thinking that, maybe the hospital was on my way to work in Hollywood. I mean, that's kind of sounding familiar.
Would you have gone on duty?
Oh, no, I'm sure I wouldn't have.
No.
I'm pretty good about not doing stuff.
Oh.
No, I'm not saying that, you haven't done stuff on duty. But I would have. I would have been working with somebody.
Oh, yeah.
So I wouldn't think. I try to avoid doing stuff on duty.
Oh,
so.
Okay. So you would have gone. If it was en route to work, you more than likely would have gone to her work and had this discussion with her.
That's sounding familiar. That's now that you guys are bringing this stuff up. That sounds familiar. But again, what's this got to do with me dating him and her getting killed? I don't have anything to do with it. And you got something that's somebody said whatever.
So that was quite interesting little stretch there from Stephanie. What is all this about? Are you saying I had something to do with it? Did somebody say something? So some denials, some pushback, some questioning of why they're there and wanting more information, and also what evidence do you have against me? Did somebody say something? I think the did somebody say something thing is interesting. That leads me to believe that maybe there's somebody out there that Stephanie did confide in. Maybe her husband? I don't know. But that's an interesting thing. Did somebody say something? Stephanie's been feeling the heat this entire interview and interrogation. She's indicating now that she's very uncomfortable and she's really feeling the heat.
Well, like we said, we just literally got this the other day, and you're going through it.
Yeah.
And you see
and you saw me say,
your
it's
name.
next door.
Right. And so, obviously it's like we recognize the name and we know that, you work next door to us. And so we're trying to get some background. We're trying to figure this out. This is from a long time ago.
Oh, I know. And
and things have been kind of slow for us. And so, Chief Beck has said, hey, I want you guys working. I don't want you just sitting around reading the paper.
Yeah.
So he's kind of pushing some older cases out even to the guys that work active cases because, and so we see this and we're just like, well, we want to talk to you about it. But of course, the only reason we did it here is because we're getting into some pretty personal stuff in your relationship.
My husband's on the job, and we've been
so
married.
We don't want to take the risk. We don't want to take the risk. We're in one of those interview rooms, and even when the door closed, someone's going to get supplies and see us on a monitor, or hears or whatever.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Like I said,
that's where people go when there's orals. When they're doing orals, guys will go in there and try and watch. And what are the answers to the questions?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we just want to afford you the most privacy and confidentiality we could.
No, I appreciate it. Like I said, this.
So that detective, again, that's his job. He's doing a good job. He sensed that she was getting agitated and defensive and upset. And he immediately steps in and just calms her down to the point that she's smiling and she's like, okay, cool. And her body language is different. Her posture is different. She's smiling and she's put at ease. He's doing a really good job of,
extending this interview and interrogation longer than it normally would have gone if they would have put the heat on her.
Goes way back, and I mean, it was very sad. You know, obviously, when we were in college, some of us would go down to his house in San Diego. I went down to his house with him, with him. And I'm trying to think of some other people that may have gone down.
Is that where he grew up, is down there?
Yeah, down in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
I know his dad was a professor at San Diego State. I don't know if he still is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened to his sister. Don't know what happened to his brother. I'm sure his dad's probably retired by now. He was, I think, older, even back then.
Right.
And I can't even tell you the last time I had any contact with any of them. It's been so long.
Did he tell you what happened? Like what he heard from the detectives or the police, or?
You know what? He may have. For some reason, I'm thinking that, I mean, again, this is like drugs or something. I mean, I think I faintly remember him mentioning something maybe about cocaine.
That she was involved with that?
You know, I don't know that he said she was involved or they thought she was. You know, again, it's been so long. He could have told me the whole story of what happened. And, I mean, like I said, I'm faintly remember either between him or the flyer that there was some kind of a burglary.
Let me ask you, did the detectives ever reach out to you?
No one's ever talked to me. I don't think anybody ever talked to me about him.
It seems like back then you would have been...
I'm thinking that I did.
So two things there. She's planting the seed in these detectives' mind that, yeah, I seem to remember that she was killed because of like drugs or cocaine or something. If you guys remember, that was what OJ said when asked about who would kill Nicole Brown Simpson, OJ. Who were her enemies? Oh, well, she was a big cokehead and she was doing deals with, coke people and stuff like that. And it was probably a coke dealer that came and murdered her. Cocaine dealers don't murder their street level customers. If that was even true, that Sherry was doing cocaine, which there's none, zero information that she was using coke. What do you want to bet back in the day Sherry was kind of floating that out there to anybody who would listen that, oh yeah, I heard she was a big cokehead, and yeah, I'll bet it was coke dealers I bet she didn't pay her coke debt or something like that, just to distract from, the truth. And now she's doing it here 23 years later with these guys. The other thing that's interesting is the detectives ask her, did anybody ever talk to you about this? No, nobody's ever talked to me. Later, she recants that and says, well, yeah, I did talk to somebody about it or whatever. Sherry's family, from the minute Sherry was murdered, brought up Stephanie Lazarus. And they tried to get anybody at LAPD who would listen that Stephanie was suspect number one and that they need to look into her and that these incidents happened at the hospital and at showing up at the condo with skis and calling John and calling her. And LAPD at the time, man, they were like, oh, you think a cop did this? No way. Moving on. And, that type of covering for each other or disregarding information that might lead to a cop or straight up corruption, has existed in big city police departments for a long time. But it's kind of shocking that they never seriously considered the ex-girlfriend, the jealous ex-girlfriend who's gotten into physical confrontations with the woman that was killed, that they never looked into her as a suspect merely because she was LAPD. Shocking.
I did talk to a detective. God. Well, what division was it?
In Van Nuys?
And where was I working?
1986?
I would have been working in Devonshire. You know, I'm thinking that I did speak to somebody.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
couldn't tell you who it was.
Because it doesn't
It was
say
probably
anything.
on
That's
the phone.
Okay.
Would it have been somebody in regards to this, or just?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I don't even know if you said a name, if I would remember it, because I worked Van Nuys for a while.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I worked.
Detectives patrol?
No, I worked detectives.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Sherry. So you spoke to a Van Nuys precinct detective about the murder of your ex-boyfriend's wife that occurred in Van Nuys, and you worked in Van Nuys, and you wouldn't even recognize the name if you heard it now. Bullcrap. You know everybody in your department. You know everybody you work with. You know most of the people in neighboring departments. Another lie that's just, it's unbelievable that a detective is telling this lie to other detectives. She knows better. She knows if she was sitting on the other side of the table, she wouldn't believe the lie she's spinning right now.
Then I go to Van Nuys. I worked Devonshire till 88. Then I went to Dare till 92. I worked twice at Van Nuys.
Both as detective?
Yeah. Sometime in the 90s. Yeah, I know before I busted my leg up, I was there in 98, because that year sticks out because I had a really bad leg injury. And I was there prior to that, but I couldn't tell you what year. It was just a few years. I made detective, I think, in 93. So I was at Van Nuys, and then I went back, and then I had a leg injury, and then they transferred me to Devonshire because I couldn't drive.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't drive very far with my bad leg injury. So, but yeah, I think I talked to somebody.
Would you remember any of the conversation as far as what they were looking for? Or?
Couldn't say. I mean, they may have told me. I said, hey, you know, I went to school with him. Either somebody called me or I saw the fly. I may have seen the flyer at that point, and I called up. If someone's name was on the flyer, I may have called to speak to them. I said, hey, if there's anything I can do, you know, call me. This is where I work. You know, I went to school with them.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't say. I couldn't tell you who it was.
But you do remember that someone you think reached out to you?
You mean a detective?
Yeah, called you up and talked to you.
Or I called them, one of the two. But yeah, I remember talking to somebody, but I'm thinking it was a man.
Yeah, Stephanie, I'm sure you called the detectives to give them all the information you had about the murder of your husband's ex-wife, the murder you committed. I'm sure you called the detectives.
Man. I'm sure there's probably more men back then.
Yeah, probably
Right,
a little
yeah, I
more.
bet.
So, again, that's really all I can remember about that.
Yeah. Let me get back to as far as when you said that John was calling you to see you, and during that time you felt that he was either seeing her, was he engaged or married? Do you know?
Couldn't say.
You don't remember?
I don't know.
Uh-huh. Would he ever?
Let's see. My husband.
Did it ever appear?
Well, no, that would have been Scott moved in '93, so that would have been, you said 86 or 85 or something.
Scott's your only husband? You've never been married?
No, never been married. I got married in, I think, 96. Well, no, I got married in 96, but he moved in 93.
Mm-hmm. But during that time that you were seeing John, was he acting kind of squirrely or kind of sneaking around when he'd hook up with you or anything like that, to make you think, hey, this guy...
He probably was. I mean,
because from the impression I get is you've known him a long time.
Well, let's see.
From what, early
I met him in
80s?
'78. No, I met him in school. I started UCLA in '78.
So you know him well during that period of time.
Yeah, I mean, was he acting squirrely? I don't even remember where he was living then.
Well, after...
I don't...
Well, let me ask you, after he hooked up with...
I mean, if he was living on Roscoe or wherever else he was living.
Right.
Well, after he hooked up with Sherry, Do you know where they were living?
No, you asked me that already.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, obviously they were living in Van Nuys division.
Yeah.
I may have known.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did he ever give me the address? Maybe. I don't remember. I mean, I don't know.
Interesting, too. Stephanie kind of here and there has talked about her career. And, I was teaching up in Dare, up north, and then I was doing this in LA, and then I was doing this in Van Nuys, and I was doing this. And I find it interesting that as soon as John and Sherry are married and living in Van Nuys district of LA, she's working in Van Nuys. What do you want to bet that transfer wasn't a coincidence so that Stephanie could stalk Sherry and John?
Because the only reason I'm asking you again is because as we've been talking, I know some stuff has come to you because you're like, oh, it seems like you're So that's why I'm asking if you've ever been to the house.
And when you said Van Nuys division, I'm sure he could have told me. I mean, he could have told me. He could have told me where he lived.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever have gone there?
I don't think I've ever gone there. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to say, no, I've never gone there, and then you say, oh, I was at a party. Because I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like I said, we've got these friends. We have parties. My house, their house. I just don't think John ever came to. Again, at one point, because we knew people from school together. I knew different people. He knew different people. I knew people that he knew from his work. That lived in the valley.
So as far as for social events or
Excuse
anything,
me.
I mean,
No problem.
you're not sure if you ever been to the house because.
But it's safe to say that would have been the only time, like for something social.
Yeah, if I went there for something social, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
because I know you.
These questions, and the reason they're harping on it is they have DNA off of Sherry's body from the house. Now, a clever defense attorney could, in sort of a fourth dimension wackadoodle way, try to convince a jury that it's transferred DNA. Stephanie was over at their house for a party, and she used the bathroom there and may have used Sherry's hairbrush, and then later Stephanie used Sherry's hairbrush, and then later Sherry picked up the hairbrush and brushed her own hair. When she did, the hairbrush brushed across her arm, and then there's DNA transfer. It's far-fetched, but at least it's, as a defense attorney, you got to try something. They're just trying to get Stephanie to say, I was never over there. And that's a key thing to do when you find DNA or hair or footprint or any other kind of fingerprint evidence at your crime scene. If you can get your suspect to say adamantly, I was never, ever there, never, your crime scene evidence just became huge. Because if you were never there, how do you explain your fingerprint? How do you explain your hair? How do you explain your DNA, whatever there? If you say, oh yeah, I let's just say you got evidence out of a car. And if you say, oh yeah, I was in that car all the time. I rode in that car twice a week for 3 years. Well, your evidence just became junk because, of course, your DNA, your hair, and your fingerprints are in the car because you're always in there. So this is a good line of questioning to really lock her down with, I've never been there.
You went to talk to her at the hospital regarding this issue with John to, kind of like, hey, what's going to happen here with this thing? But would this ever have followed up to her house when you went to talk to her to say, hey, you know what?
I don't even know that I knew where they lived. That's what I'm saying. If I knew where they lived and I'd been there, if it was for something social, I would, and I can't see how many times I saw her face to face. he lived on Roscoe. Did I ever see her there? I don't know. I mean, I may have seen her at his apartment on Roscoe. I may have met her there. I mean...
But you didn't have any issues with her, right?
No, I mean, obviously, if he was dating me and dating her, I probably said, hey, pick or something, back
That's
then. I can't say that we ever screamed or, I mean, he was a pretty mellow guy, I think I was pretty mellow. I don't think we had some big...
Stephanie, I think it was Abraham Lincoln that once said, paraphrasing, it's very hard for us to see ourselves in the way that other people see us. For Stephanie Lazarus to say, I was pretty mellow. Now, people mellow with age. Stephanie is a spazoid. Her nickname in her police department, was Lazarus. Her name is Stephanie Lazarus. Lazarus. She's manic, frantic, spastic, and she's almost 50 years old when she should be getting mellow. You can only imagine what this woman was like when she was in her 20s, when she says, I was pretty mellow. No, she was probably even nuttier. I'm sure of it.
Huge blow up to say, why we stopped dating, or, and I even think that when I was dating him, I was probably, like I said, I was probably going out with other guys and he was probably going out with other girls.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, would you remember if she snapped on you and just like, hey man, it's my man, you leave him alone, blah, 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 that kind of stuff? I mean, would you remember an incident like that? I mean, because that would be like, what?
Well, and maybe that happened. I mean, gosh, it's been so long ago. I mean, that's not ringing a bell.
Because the times I've seen you around at our office,
I'm crazy.
But you're always kind of like real. I mean, you seem kind of bubbly.
Oh, people think I'm really hyper. But I can get upset, and then I forget 5 seconds later, you know how guys razz you and you go, I mean, I've done that in the office, but it's like, and then I'm, I mean, people
water
think,
under the bridge.
Yeah, I mean, it's like people think I'm crazy, and then they think I'm crazy at home, and I'm,
You're not helping yourself, Stephanie. People think I'm crazy. People think I'm crazy at home. When I'm in the office, I go, bah! You just got done saying that you're pretty mellow. And then literally 30 seconds later, you're saying all this stuff, which doesn't help you, Stephanie, not one bit.
I'm a hyper person at work. I enjoy my job. I get excited. I enjoy the job. I've always enjoyed the job.
Well, you got a good gig, so.
I don't know. It's like I said, this stuff's been so long ago. I'm sure as soon as I walk out here, I'll go, oh shoot, it's 25 things I'll remember.
But you'll call us, or you'll just come over to our desk and tell us.
I don't know what else you need to know. Like I said, we.
That's a good little aside by that detective. She said, oh, I'm sure when I walk out of here, I'm gonna remember something. And well, these detectives know she's walking out of here in handcuffs. But they don't want her to know that. So they reassure her, yeah, I'm sure you'll call us or tell us or something, which is a subtle little message to her. Yeah, you're walking out of here. We're all cops. We're just talking like cops, and you're going to walk out of here. So it's a good little comment for him to make there.
New friends together. A lot of the friends that, that we socialized in the dorms, I would say, there was a group of us that, we were all really close. Even this one guy I was thinking of, Diana Basta. We were all really close. I haven't talked to her in a million years.
Diana Basta being a friend of you and John's, or?
Yeah, we all lived on the dorms together. I don't know if she lived on the same. I'm trying to think. I know John lived on our floor because his roommate was Dave Newman. Dave Newman now is a big shot whatever, movie producer, director, something, I don't know.
And that was John's roommate?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
then the guys that lived across from me, Jim Jaskell and Roy Sakaboo, something like that. They lived across from me. Diana Basta, I don't know if she lived on our floor. Maybe she was the RA. Diane Sherman, because I still remain friends with Diane Sherman. Not that I'm not friends with the other people, I just don't see them. A gal named Smita, Sally, Kathleen, you know, so we were all on the floor. I mean, some of them were athletes, some of them weren't. You know, I said John played basketball, his brother played basketball, I played basketball at UCLA for 2 years. One of the girls swam on the team, one was on the crew team. So we all did stuff together. And then I'd say after we all graduated, we went to weddings. You know, I went to weddings.
But Sherry wasn't part of this circle.
No, I don't even know how he met her. I don't even know where. I mean, I don't know where he met her from. I don't even know. He told me where he met her from. I mean, he may have told me. You know, that's not ringing a bell. And there was lots. I mean, you know, there was other people that knew other people. You know, that were friends of everybody's. You know. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
Well, one of the concerns I had is looking at some of the notes is some of Sherry's friends said that you and her were having a problem because of the John situation.
Well, number one, I don't know who her friends are, because again, I don't recall if he did tell me where he met her. I don't know even who these friends are. A problem. Like I said, if I spoke to her, I mean, I'll go on as far as a limb, and I don't even want to say I spoke to her 5 times, because that's probably not even true. I can't even remember. Again, did I meet him at her place when he lived on Roscoe for, I think, quite a while, but I couldn't tell you how long he lived on Roscoe. And the only reason I remember the place now is because it's like a huge dope place now where they.
Stephanie's starting to short circuit here. She's visibly trembling, and her vocal cadence and her and her and all of her I mean, it's ramping up, and I think we're about to enter the doesn't ring a bell, that doesn't sound familiar portion of the interrogation, where she just has complete amnesia over everything. But she just got smacked pretty hard with people are saying. People were talking, you guys had problems, you guys had issues, and whenever they just blindside her with some evidence, whether circumstantial or direct, she gets very frazzled and starts to short circuit.
You know, it may have been back then, but, you know, maybe we didn't know back then. I could have met her there. I could have, you know, you know, I don't even know that I met any of their friends. I can't say that. I don't know that that's a true statement. Well,
that's what I'm reading, is that you guys have problems with each other and words are being exchanged, and it's all relating to John.
You know what? I can't say.
You can't say?
No, that doesn't even ring a bell. So, I mean,
it seemed like, yeah, you would recall something if somebody's going off on you, right?
I would think.
Yeah. Because it's.
But that you know.
Because it seems like your relationship with John was kind of. I mean, you've known each other for a lot of years.
Yeah, it was just kind of. It was like.
But it doesn't seem to me, from what you're telling me.
I mean, we were never engaged. I mean, it wasn't like we were planning to get married. You know, it was like it was.
The word you're looking for, Stephanie, is F buddies. We were F buddies. We didn't get engaged. We weren't talking about marriage. We weren't boyfriend, girlfriend. Just say it, Stephanie. You were F buddies.
I don't know how to describe it. I mean...
Would you say there wasn't a lot of drama in this relationship?
Oh, no. I don't think there was drama.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I mean...
That's why I'm asking, as far as what the friends are saying in regards to this, you know, the problems that they're saying you were having with Sherry. I mean, it seems
You
like
know,
the relationship is just going on an even plane.
That just, I don't have a recollection of that at all.
No?
No.
And because from what you're telling me is when you guys met at the hospital, I mean, you guys talked, but it wasn't, from what you recall, confrontational
I don't think so.
from either side?
No. I mean, I'm trying to, turn my memory back, and I can't even picture the conversation. I mean, I can't even picture the conversation.
Well, let me ask you, I mean, at the hospital, it never got to the point where people are going, hey, everybody go to your own corner type of thing?
I don't think so.
Nothing like that?
I don't think so. I mean, I really don't. I mean, if you say people said that, that's not ringing a bell to me at all. I mean, it's not. I mean, that's not ringing a bell to me at all.
Was there ever a time when you and Sherry were talking and John had to maybe go like, hey, you guys relax, or anything like that?
I think so.
How about, ever going to her house and having a dispute like that?
If I met her ever at his apartment, maybe. I mean, maybe I could have met at her apartment. I'm thinking that the hospital thing, that sounds familiar, that I met her there. I just can't say that I've ever, again, was I there with other people? I don't know. I don't think I ever met her there or him there, meaning one or the other. I don't think so. I can't. I don't think so.
Because I know the way my wife is. At our house, she wouldn't want my own girlfriends there, So I don't know if maybe she had the same mentality towards you, as far as you ever being there, or being welcome there, because it's.
You know what? If somebody said I was there when they were there, then that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't recall. I mean, I don't think so. It's not sounding familiar.
Yeah, because I guess basically what I'm asking is, were you ever welcome to the house? Like, hey.
Oh, come over?
Yeah, come on over. We're having a barbecue, a dinner party, Christmas party, whatever.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Like I said, because there were so many of us that the two Dianes, Jim Jaskell, Roy, Smita, this gal Smita, another friend of ours, Beth. She it seems like everybody I know is passing away. She passed away. She was a child diabetic and got very ill. We would all socialize. Like I said, I don't think John ever. It's hard. I don't want to say he never socialized with us. It's been. I'd have to almost go back and look at pictures, because I take pictures. I mean, I usually when I go to functions, I have 10,000 pictures. Okay, I'm a picture nut.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask: when you were seeing John, would you? I take it he would pick you up in his car. You go in her, your car, things of that nature. When you guys would go out.
Well, yeah, I mean.
Do you remember what he drove?
Well, I know at one time he drove either a 240 or 260Z.
Any other cars that stand out in your mind?
That might have made my favorite Sherry or Stephanie face. Asked what kind of cars he drove. She goes, She reminds me of that blue creature on Sesame Street that's got the mouth that has the underbite and chomps like that. Yeah. I don't know if you guys are just listening to this or not, but do yourself a favor at some point. Go back and actually watch this. You've got to see Stephanie's face and mouth, and it's something to behold.
I don't know how long he drove that 240 or 260Z for. And the only reason I say that is because I think I may have a picture of it with him in it.
She just needs to check her pictures.
What kind of car did you have back then?
Let's see. What year?
Or are you like one of those young cops that like, oh, I got a paycheck and bought a new car?
Oh, no. I've only had like a few cars in my whole life.
So what'd you have when you came on the job?
I think if I had to guess, this line of questioning seems out of left field, and because it's
I think what this is there's probably some rando witness statement that recalls seeing a certain type of car parked around the corner from Sherry's condo or down the street, or that somebody got out. Stephanie, after she committed this murder, she stole Sherry's BMW and drove it several blocks away and parked it and left it there. Again, wanting this to look like a home invasion, car theft crime. And I wonder if there's some rando statement that they found or witness statement that they found that said, oh, I saw a woman get out of that BMW and get into this type of car. So wonder if they're trying to lock Stephanie down into, I owned a Toyota Tercel at the time, and that matches up with the witness statements. That's the only thing I can really think of.
Okay, well, my first car was a 68 Chevelle. 68 Chevelle. And then I had a Toyota, some kind of a Toyota hatchback, but I forget what the name of it was.
Like a Corolla or Tercel or something like that.
Tercel.
Yeah.
And then I had my truck.
Did you ever have any problems with your cars?
Like what?
Just anything in general, car wrecks, anything stolen.
Yeah. No, my car's never been stolen. Oh, no, crashed, hit and run. My Tercel was hit and run. Again, I got pictures of the hit and runs. I don't think any of my cars had ever been stolen. No. My cars haven't been stolen. Broken into.
None of that, huh?
Oh yeah, my cars have been broken into. But no cars have ever been stolen.
How long? Well, tell me about this car getting broken into.
Well, my car has been broken into several times.
Oh, really? Did you ever lose anything, or?
Yeah. Now that you mention it, let's see.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, she knows they're zeroing in on her, and she's a little sassy with that. What they're getting at is she had a gun stolen out of her car. Coincidentally, 13 days after the murder. And it was a gun that's the same caliber as the gun that was used to kill Sherry. One thing cops and detectives don't ever believe in is coincidences. And the fact that Stephanie reported her gun stolen out of her car 13 days after the murder is highly suspicious, coincidentally suspicious.
I had a gun that was stolen. I had other stuff that was stolen.
Not your duty gun, was it?
No.
Oh, that's good. Was it ever recovered?
I don't know. No, I don't think so. Not that I know of.
Never been notified?
No. Car's been broken into, several times.
Where did that happen? When your gun was taken?
Trying to remember. I'm sure you guys must know. Because my car was broken into in Ventura. I think in Santa Monica. I have relatives that live in Santa Monica and Venice.
Who lives there?
My uncle. Well, I had several uncles. Could have been Santa Monica, Venice. My car's been broken into in Ventura before, so.
Is your mom still around, or? Yeah. Your dad?
Yeah, but I don't really have much of a relationship with my dad. So, I couldn't tell you where he lives if you want to know.
Oh, really?
No. Yeah, couldn't tell you.
Well, like I said, as we were looking at the case, and we had read the notes as far as from Sherry's friend saying you guys had problems or words, and they got heated. You know, and the reason we're asking you is they had mentioned that an incident at her work had occurred, and they've also told us that an incident at her house occurred.
You know what?
And this is at her house during the period of time that they're married.
That's just not sounding familiar at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know what? That's just not sound. Again, if someone says that I was at her house and I had an incident with her, that just doesn't sound. Was John there? Did John say this happened? And other people were there. I don't recall. I mean, it just doesn't sound, familiar.
And this is an incident where you showed up. You weren't supposed to show up, and things got heated.
At his house?
Yeah.
That just doesn't sound familiar. I mean, no. It's not sounding familiar.
So.
Not.
Either Stephanie has a lifelong history of getting into verbal and physical confrontations with people, and they're so plentiful that she just can't recall them, or she's just a stone cold liar. Let's see. She's a stone cold liar. I could tell you every heated verbal confrontation and physical confrontation I've ever been in with anybody ever. It just doesn't happen that much. And for somebody like Stephanie, a police officer and a detective, she's obviously lived, other than murdering somebody, a relatively clean and productive life. So she shouldn't have a history of a lot of verbal and physical confrontations with people. Otherwise, she would have been arrested, or she wouldn't have been as successful as she was if she had that kind of lifestyle. So, and these detectives know that. And it's just furthermore ridiculous lies, ridiculous amnesia that Stephanie is exhibiting here that just, she should know better.
Not at all.
Now you're saying not familiar because it's just something you remember, or it's just...
you know what? I'd have to say I don't remember, because I don't remember. That doesn't sound familiar.
I mean, would you remember something like that in your life?
Well, I would think, but...
Sort of drama involving, the other woman type of thing?
Sure. Did you ever fight with her?
You mean like we fought?
Yeah. Did you ever duke it out with her?
No, I don't think so. I mean...
You'd remember that, right? That would be pretty...
No, I don't think so. Did you ever duke it out with your ex-boyfriend's wife who was later murdered? Did you ever duke it out with her? I don't think so. That's a ridiculous answer, Stephanie.
Yeah, I would think so. I
Pretty
mean,
specific.
Yeah, like I said, I mean,
dramatic.
obviously, it just doesn't sound familiar. I mean, what are they saying? So I fought with her. So now I getting the jump, the leap. Excuse me, I haven't eaten. They're saying, okay, I fought with her, so I must have killed her. I mean, come on. I mean, that's,
Yes, Stephanie, exactly. Because you're the only person that ever fought with her leading up to her murder. You're the only person that had a problem with her leading up to her murder. So, yes, that's not a leap, Stephanie. That's normal detective logic.
I met any of these people. I mean, it's insane. If it happened, I honestly don't remember it. That's all I can tell you. I mean,
but I don't know. I mean, would it be something you would remember? I mean, because I don't know if any other intense incidents in your life that have occurred. I mean, you'd recall those, right? I mean,
well,
like a use of force at work or a car crash, something you're involved in. You'd be like, yeah, I remember.
You would think I would remember. I mean, I would think if it was something that crazy. I mean, I can't say. You say, how many fights have you gotten into? In your life. I mean, a few at work.
Well, fights at work are kind of different because we've all had uses of force or whatever. But
well, I didn't even have a lot of those. I mean,
right, but if you're actually,
I mean, I played.
Like if Dan and I got mad at each other and we threw blows in the squad room, I mean, 20 years later, I would remember it. I mean,
I would think I would remember it, but that's what I'm saying. That's not sounding familiar to me at all. I mean,
let me ask you, I mean, throughout your life, would you remember the number of fights you've been involved in? And I don't mean kind of like a bump or something, just a physical fight where everybody's hitting each other, scratching, pulling, whatever.
Maybe. I mean, I can't say I've been in a lot. I played sports.
Yeah.
You get into scuffles there, and
and you recall some of those, right? I mean, just
yeah, I can recall some of them.
Games get intense.
But like I said, you saying this is just not ringing a bell.
Nothing.
I mean, but I don't know what to tell you. It's just that's just not ringing a bell to me.
It'd be something.
I would think I would remember.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you're in this,
I would think so too.
If you're in this other girl's house and words are exchanged, I mean, you figure you recall.
I would think.
Especially if it got physical, right?
Well, I would think.
And it's relating to, a guy that you were dating, but she's dating now, and it's just kind of like a whole love triangle type of thing. I mean, you figure you'd remember that, right?
Well, I would think.
She just said. She just answered. I would think. I think I counted 8 times in a row. That's Stephanie short circuiting at this point. The only answer she has right now is, it's not familiar, doesn't ring a bell. I would think. That's all. Those are literally the only words she said for the last 10 minutes, I think.
So.
I mean, I don't know what to still tell you.
Yeah. No, because I'm looking at the notes, and these people are kind of. I mean, they're pointing the finger at you.
Well.
And.
I mean, that's not ringing a bell to me. So, I don't know. It's. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, that just sounds crazy to me.
Yeah. So you, offhand, you don't recall ever going into her house and having words and physically,
No.
attacking her attacking you?
No.
Nothing like that?
No. I mean, that's, no.
Nothing?
No. No. Not at all.
Okay. Well, on some of the, on this case,
I think why those questions are important too is Sherry could say, if she had a good defense attorney, and actually if Sherry was smart, I mean, she's not thinking clearly right now. She's been blindsided. She hasn't had any time to, and this is why you don't talk to the police until you know what their case is. And even then you don't talk to them, but you need to know what the police know before you start talking, because you're going to contradict yourself. You're going to have to tell lies. And it's just much better if you have a grasp on what the story needs to be. So she's not doing that.
It occurred in '86, right? Detectives processed the scene, things of that nature. They did fingerprints and all that stuff. You know the standard stuff. I mean, you've been doing this longer than I have.
Well, not about that. I got 26 years on.
Yeah.
Going on 26.
19, so. But, as they processed everything, they did the best they could at that time, and they looked at a lot of people and different things in this case. And you're right.
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then, I got a problem with that.
Okay.
Stephanie, they've been treating you like a suspect for, an hour and 19 minutes now, and you're just cluing into that. And we're really sorry that you've got a problem with it, that you're being treated as a suspect. It's shocking that this detective is just now realizing that she's a suspect and is so indignant that she's being treated as a suspect. I don't know. She's way too experienced to be saying these things.
Okay, so, if you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, hey, I'm a suspect. Well, now I got a problem with, now you're accusing me of this? Is that what you're saying?
We're trying to figure out what happened, Stephanie.
Well, I'm just saying,
And once again, that detective does a great job of kind of bringing it back. She's getting flustered. She's like, "Oh, I'm being treated as a suspect. I got a real problem with that." And she's getting real close to asking for a lawyer. And that detective does a nice job of bringing it back by saying, "Hey, Stephanie, we're just trying to get to the bottom of this. That's all. Nice job." That's kind of been his role this entire interrogation.
I need to get a lawyer if you're accusing me of this. You
don't have to.
I'm just,
you're here of your own free will.
I know, but
you're not under arrest. You can walk out.
You can leave whenever you like.
Well, but I'm trying to give you some background of how I knew him, and now you're telling me that somebody's saying that we had this big old fight, and I don't even know what you're talking about. And I don't want to get in trouble for something that I didn't even do, or you're saying I did something.
Okay.
Yeah, we understand.
How would you guys like it if the tables were turned on you?
I understand. No.
No, that's what we're telling you. You're free to go whenever you want. If this makes you uncomfortable and you want to,
now you're starting to make me uncomfortable.
The thing is,
Stephanie, you've been uncomfortable since the minute you walked in, and your face crinkled up, and you started hyperventilating and spazzing out. No,
just did what they could at that time on the crime scene. Okay, and the burglary thing you're talking about, that is an angle that they looked at. I go, but now we're looking at everything else on the case, because nobody was ever arrested on the case.
I don't know that or not.
Okay. Now, what we'd like to do is, obviously you know about all the DNA stuff and things of the nature that, gets done on cases nowadays. If we asked you for a DNA swab, would you be willing to give us one?
Maybe.
Maybe. So they don't need to ask her for a DNA swab. They've actually already got her DNA. When she became a suspect, when the DNA results from the wound on Sherry came back as a female DNA, and then they noticed Stephanie being the ex-girlfriend and her name came up in the original case, they actually followed her as she went to like a food court somewhere or a food place and got like a soft drink with a straw, drank out of it and threw it in the trash. They went and got that out of the trash after observing her and sent the straw away. And the DNA on the straw came back to within, a 1 gazillionth chance of matching to her. So at this point, they're going to get her DNA with a search warrant that they probably already have in hand for her DNA. This question is kind of like when you ask the polygraph question, are you willing to take a polygraph? If somebody says no, then you ask follow-up questions. Well, why not? What are you scared of? And it gives the detective an indicator of where they're at. Same thing here. Are you willing to give a DNA sample? Maybe. Well, why not, Stephanie?
Because now I'm thinking I probably need to talk to a lawyer.
Okay.
Stephanie, you needed a lawyer 1 second into this interrogation, but maybe 20 seconds into this interrogation when they ask you if you knew John Rutten. So an hour and 26 minutes later, after you've already said all this stuff, it's a little too late for your lawyer.
Because I know how this stuff works, okay? Don't get me wrong, you're right, I have been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
And I wish I had been recording this because now it sounds like, there's, you're selling these people say I'm fighting with her, and now it sounds like you're trying to, I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
We know.
Okay? And now it almost sounds like you're trying to pin something on me.
No,
now I got that sense.
Well, what it gets to on these cases, and you know it as well as I do.
You're right, Stephanie. You have been doing this for a long time, which is why it's absolutely ridiculous that you're still sitting there and that you're just putting the pieces together that you're a suspect and that this is an interview and interrogation and that you need a lawyer. They're not trying to pin it on you. They're just laying out some of the evidence that certainly points directly at you.
Our job is to identify and eliminate suspects.
I can't believe this.
So if we ask you to the point to give us a DNA sample, a buccal swab, so we can identify or eliminate you, would you be willing to do that?
Maybe. Because I know this,
Well, that's where we're at too. Because right now, from looking at the evidence, it's possible we may have some DNA at the location.
That's great.
And we're going to do what we can to try to put this thing together. And your name's in the book. These people are pointing at you for whatever reason.
I don't know why. That's just crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
And it would be irresponsible on our part not to look at it.
I know. You guys have to do your job, and I guess I'm going to have to contact somebody. So...
That's fair.
I mean, because I know how this stuff works. I
Sure.
mean, I just can't believe it.
I mean, we understand that. I mean, if we were in your position, I mean, we would feel the same way.
I just can't even believe it. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm shocked. I'm really shocked that somebody would be saying that I did this. I mean, we had a fight, and so I went and killed her. I mean, come on.
Well,
That's...
Yes, Stephanie, you are the ex-girlfriend who had a physical confrontation, several verbal confrontations with his now dead ex-wife who was murdered under suspicious circumstances. So being a detective and being a police officer, you should have been the first suspect. And because you were at LAPD and there was a culture of not looking at your own and covering up for your own in LAPD, you weren't. So quit acting surprised that you are a suspect in this. It's not crazy. If you're wondering why there's some pauses in this video here at the end, for some reason the last 18 minutes of my original recording, the sound started skipping, my voice started skipping on one word, and it sounded like I was barking for the last 18 minutes. I don't know what happened to the original recording, but I'm 2 days later now recording the last 18 minutes of the voiceover of the reaction to this, and I'm trying to match it up with the pauses in the video, and it's just not working out so well. I've kind of talked about in the comments my struggles with the editing in these videos. I'm working with a 10-year-old iPad and an iPhone here, and some rudimentary editing software, and it's tricky to piece all this together. YouTube stopped allowing you to download videos directly to your device to be used in situations like this about 4 or 5 months ago. You can download them to your device, but you can only play them through YouTube. And I have to import the entire interrogation videos into my editing software. And to do that, I have to screen record. But you can only screen record for maybe a half an hour here and there before it starts getting choppy. So apologies.
okay.
All right.
Well, thanks for giving me the courtesy. I wish I could recorded that.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Stephanie, take care.
All right.
Okay, what they just said there and what happened is very important. So if you remember at the beginning of this video, normally you hear the police, the detectives read them their Miranda rights. They did not do this in this case. The reason why is they brought her there under a ruse. The ruse of, we have somebody who we're interviewing who might be involved in a case that you're handling, so we need you to come into the jail here to interview him. We'll introduce you. That was to disarm her. They also know she is a detective, and her hackles are going to be up once they start talking about this. And if she feels at all from the outset that this is an interview and interrogation, she's going to shut down, more than likely. So if they read her Miranda, that's going to, get her antennas up, and she's probably going to walk out. So they didn't read her Miranda. And just a reminder, Miranda rights, you have the right to remain silent, you have a right to an attorney. There have to be two conditions met for a detective or an officer to be obligated to read those. You can read them to anybody whenever you want just to cover your butt, but they only have to be read under two conditions, if two conditions exist. One, the person is in custody or detained or isn't free to leave. The second is you're asking him questions. So if I have somebody detained in the back of my car that I'm arresting and taking to the station, if I'm not asking them questions, I don't need to give them their Miranda rights. Only one thing exists: custody, no interrogation. If I'm interrogating somebody who's not in custody, they're standing in the middle of a field and they're free to go, I don't need to read Miranda either. Now what they did there is they said, okay, goodbye, take it easy, Stephanie, we'll see you later, thanks for coming in. They want to show through this video, so a defense attorney can't argue it, that she was free to leave. And she did leave. Pretty soon here, you're going to hear the unmistakable sound of a jail sliding bar door close and whatever. They're making sure that she gets out of the secure area, out of the detention area, and it can freely walk out the door. Then they're going to arrest her and bring her back in. Had they just arrested her in that room, a defense attorney could have argued, well, she wasn't free to leave. You guys had her in a locked room in a jail behind a barred door that she didn't have the keys to. She was detained. Detention doesn't have to be in handcuffs. Detention doesn't have to be in a jail. If I encounter you in the middle of a cornfield and I'm interrogating you and you're a suspect in a crime and I tell you you're not free to leave, you're being detained, even though I don't put hands on you or handcuff you or anything, you are detained, and if I question you, I have to read you Miranda. Okay? So detention and custody can be a verbal custody. You aren't free to leave. It doesn't necessarily have to be restrained, physically detained, or locked up, just so we understand. So again, we have to have custody and interrogation. Interrogation only, but you're free to leave and walk away anytime. Don't have to give you Miranda. Detention, but I'm not asking you questions. Don't have to read you Miranda. So these detectives played it really smart. They're obviously seasoned. I think the one detective said he has 19 years on, when Stephanie was talking about she had 26 years. So here they come with her, I think.
This is just absolutely crazy.
Have a seat, Stephanie.
This is insane.
Okay.
I love, she says it's absolutely crazy. So they've brought her back in here so they can record reading her Miranda on camera. That's important too. They don't want her to later say, well, I wasn't read my rights ever, and this is how it happened. They're documenting how everything exactly happened. Now, I never got in trouble as a police officer. The indignation that she is facing right now, being handcuffed, interviewed and interrogated, and then arrested by detectives that work across the hall from you in your department. It's just, what must be going on in her brain must be staggering. And she's had this hanging over her head for 23 years. How do you, I once asked,
Give me 1 second. Okay, Stephanie, you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Yes.
Anything you say may be used against you in court. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have the right.
Not sure what happened with the video there. The whole tail end of this video, I apologize. The edit is just awful. What I was saying is, I once asked somebody that I arrested that had a bunch of warrants. I arrested him on a traffic stop and took him to jail. And I was just talking to him, and I said, how do you live your life? How do you go through your daily life knowing that you have these warrants for your arrest hanging over your head, and that any moment on your way to the store, on the way to pick up your kids from school, at work, you could be arrested, and your life as you know it is over? And who takes care of your kids? Who takes care of your house? Who pays your bills?
In the presence of an attorney before and during any questioning. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you free of charge before any questioning if you want. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you want to talk to us right now?
No.
Now she says no. Do you want to talk to us right now? Now she says no. You should have said no an hour and 35 minutes ago, Stephanie. And then the rest of this video is they just walk her out. What I was saying before is, how do you live with that over your head? Stephanie has had a unsolved murder case in which she is the perpetrator, hanging over her head for 23 years. I'd love to interview Stephanie and ask her a few questions, but one of the questions would be, Stephanie, at what point did you think you were out of the woods? Did you think, okay, I've gotten away with this? And did it ever leave your brain? Did you ever stop thinking about it? Cases go cold within
days, weeks, certainly months when there's no leads and no suspects. This case had the only lead in this case was that, there's these home invasions with these two Hispanic dudes in the area, and there was a little poster with some crude artist rendering. And obviously those guys were never connected to this, or I don't even know if they were ever even arrested for anything. The case went cold very quickly. One of the reasons it went cold is the detectives did a crummy job. They got tunnel vision, not these detectives, the original detectives. They got tunnel vision. They locked in on the story of, it's these home invader guys, and they waited for that to come to fruition. It never did. They should have been looking at Stephanie. Stephanie's family was screaming from the rooftops, you need to look at Stephanie. She's the ex-girlfriend. She's jealous. She wants John for herself. She went and physically fought and verbally argued with Sherry at her workplace. She went to their house and verbally argued with her. Why aren't you looking at her? And it took these detectives 23 years later to finally put the pieces together. But yeah, I wonder if Stephanie ever stopped thinking about this 100 times a day. That's what I wonder. So anyway, I hope you guys liked that one. Sorry for the crummy edit at the end. I'm still working on it. It's going to get better. There's an app that just came out. I've actually been talking to the app developer where I can do these reaction videos on one device. I can play the main video in the background. I'm already superimposed on the front. I don't have to stitch it together later. Everything syncs up perfectly, and there's no video glitching or anything like that. So I'm hoping, I actually just talked to that guy on the phone today, and I'm hoping to hear back from him later that he's got a couple little glitches in his app worked out that'll make it better for me, but we'll see. So anyway, that's going to do it for the classics. We've covered the 3 classics, Holtzclaw, Kenneth Blue, Stephanie Lazarus. I think the next one I want to do is Miles Bryant. That's a really, really interesting one from just a couple of years ago. Tragic, mind-blowing in what this officer did and how he behaved. Another one where, a gun goes missing by the police officer and he reports it stolen immediately after the murder. So you guys will really like that one. So stay tuned for Miles Bryant. And thanks again for watching. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. Tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. I got a couple people that comment on every video. Give me tips, give me pointers, give me suggestions on things to do. I read all the comments. I take all of it seriously. Thank you so much for you that have commented. And I will be getting to what you've been asking me to do real soon here. So thanks again. Talk to you guys later.